Welcome to my video presentation. This is my second video on the subject of valuation. This video presentation is about valuation for capital gain tax and the importance of the new 50C amendment. This video has been presented in a very simple language so that even a layman can understand what is capital gain tax and how it is computed. I hope this will be most valuable for valuers who are just started their profession or the beginners in the profession of valuation field. What is capital gain? Profit or gains arising from the transfer of a capital asset made in a previous year is taxable as capital gain under the head capital gain tax. There are three components of capital gain. First, there should be a capital asset. Secondly, that capital asset should be transferred, that is the transfer of asset. Once it is transferred, there should be a consideration and there should be a gain. Then only the capital gain tax can be charged. Now we will take each one in detail. Capital asset. What is a capital asset? Capital asset is defined to include any kind of property held by an assessee, whether or not connected with the business or profession of the assessee. Any securities held by which it has been invested in such securities in accordance with the regulations made under the SCBA Act 1992. Generally, the personal assets is not considered as a capital asset, but there is an exception for this rule. Jewelry, though it is a personal asset, is considered as a capital asset for the computation of the capital gain tax. Next is the second component, transfer of asset. The capital asset has to be transferred for some consideration, then only the capital gain comes in the picture. So, the transfer of asset, which includes sale, exchange, relinquishment of a capital asset, execution of any right in capital asset, compulsory acquisition of the capital asset, conversion of a capital asset, part performance of a contract of sale, transfer of rights in immovable properties through the medium of cooperative societies or companies, transfer by a person to a firm or other association of persons, body of individuals, distribution of capital assets, dissolution, distribution of money or other assets by a company on liquidation. Then the profit or gain. Profit or gains arising from the transfer of a capital asset is called the capital gain. Then the capital gain is divided into two categories. The short-term capital gain and the long-term capital gain. What is short-term capital gain? If a capital asset is transferred before 24 months from the date of acquisition, the profit or gain accrued out of this transfer is termed as short-term capital gain. What is long-term capital gain? If a capital asset is transferred after 24 months or more from the date of acquisition, the profit or gain out of this transfer is termed as long-term capital gain. How is the short-term capital gain calculated? It is full value of consideration the amount for which you have sold the property, minus cost of acquisition, at what cost you originally acquired this property, minus cost of improvement, minus cost of transfer. But for long-term capital gain, it is different. You get an advantage of index cost of acquisition, index cost of improvement, and index cost of transfer. Regarding the index cost, we will come in the next chapter. So, the long-term capital gain is full value of consideration minus index cost of acquisition minus index cost of improvement. As explained earlier, capital asset, then the long-term capital asset. Then from the sale of the long-term capital asset, the long-term capital gain arise. Just like that, capital asset, short-term capital asset, then short-term capital gain. Cost index and index cost. The capital gain is computed on the gains acquired by the assessee in the sale of a property. Suppose a person acquired a property in the year 2003 for rupees 10 lakhs and he sells the property in the year 2019 for rupees 35 lakhs. The theoretical gain or profit is rupees 35 lakhs minus rupees 10 lakhs is equal to rupees 25 lakhs. But government knows very well that because of the cost inflation, the cost of acquisition of rupees 10 lakhs in the year 2003 is not the value as on 2019. We have to consider the cost inflation. The cost index calculates the estimated rise in the cost of goods and assets year by year as a result of inflation. Cost inflation index. It is fixed by the central government in its official gazette to measure inflation. Section 48 of the Indian Income Tax Act 1961 defines the index as notified by the government every year. The cost index for the year 2001 not to 2020 to 21 is given in the accompanying table. See here, the base year is 2001 and 2002, the index is 100, and the latest now 2020 to 21 is 301. So in the above case study, the year of acquisition is 2003 and the cost inflation index as on 2003 is 105. The cost of acquisition in the year 2003 is equal to rupees 10 lakhs. The year of sale is 2019 and the cost inflation index in the year 2019 is 289. So the index cost is equal to rupees 10 lakhs into 289 divided by 105 is equal to rupees 27 lakhs 52,381. The property was sold in the year 2019 for rupees 35 lakhs. So the capital gain is equal to cost of sale minus index cost of acquisition. So it is 35 lakhs minus the indexed cost 27 lakhs 52,381 is equal to rupees 7 lakhs 47,690. In computation of capital gain, only the index cost of acquisition is considered and not the actual cost of acquisition. Conditions before 1/4/2017. Before the Finance Bill 2017, for the computation of capital gain tax, for all properties acquired before 1/4/1981, the cost of acquisition will be the cost of property as on 1981. More clearly, even if the property is actually acquired on a date before 1481, it will be considered as a property acquired on 1981, and the fair market value as on 1981 will be taken as the cost of acquisition for the computation of capital gain tax. After the Finance Bill 2017, this has been changed. After the Finance Bill 2017, for the computation of capital gain tax, all properties acquired before 1/4/2001, the fair market value of the property as on 2000 will be the cost of acquisition. Now, case studies. Case 1. A has purchased a property of 8 cents with a RCC single-story building, newly built of plinth area 100 square meter for an amount of rupees 14 lakhs in the year 2010. He has done some improvements in the year 2016 for an amount of 5 lakhs. He sold the property in the year 2018 for an amount of 40 lakhs. Work out the capital gain tax to be paid by A. Year of acquisition of property 2010. Cost of acquisition rupees 14 lakhs. Cost of improvements in the year 2016 5 lakhs, and year of sale of the property 2018. Sale consideration, the amount for which the property was finally sold, rupees 40 lakhs. Cost inflation index at the time of acquisition 2010 is 167, and cost inflation index at the time of sale is 280. The cost of acquisition is equal to rupees 14 lakhs. So the index cost of acquisition is equal to 280 divided by 167 into 14 lakhs is equal to 23 lakhs 47,305. Index cost of improvements. Cost of inflation index at the time of improvement is 264, and the cost of at the time of sale year 2018 is 280. Cost improvements rupees 5 lakhs. So the index cost of improvement is the cost index at the time of sale divided by the cost index at the time of acquisition into 5 lakhs is equal to 5 lakhs 30,303. Total index cost of acquisition, that is index cost of the property plus index cost of the improvements, that's equal to rupees 23 lakhs 47,305 plus rupees 5 lakhs 30,303, total equal to rupees 28 lakh 77,608. Actual sale price of the property is 40 lakhs. So capital gain is equal to 40 lakhs minus rupees 28 lakh 77,608, which is equal to rupees 11 lakhs 22,392. Since the property is sold after 2 years from the date of acquisition, it attracts long-term capital gain tax at 20%. So capital gain tax is equal to rupees 11 lakhs 22,392 into 0.2 is equal to 2 lakhs 24,470. Case 2. A purchased a property of 8 cents with a RCC single-story building, newly built, of plinth area 60 square meter for an amount of rupees 14 lakhs in the year 2005 March. He sold the property in the year 2006 October for an amount of 20 lakhs. Work out the capital gain tax to be paid by A. Year of acquisition 2005 March. Cost of acquisition is 14 lakhs. Year of sale of the property 2006 October. Here please note A has sold the property within a period of 2 years. So here it is short-term capital gain. For short-term capital gain, there is no benefit of index cost. The cost of acquisition is taken wholly and it is reduced from the amount for which the property was sold. So, year of sale of the property 2006 October. Cost of acquisition in March 2005 14 lakhs. He sold the property in 2006 for rupees 20 lakhs. Capital gain is equal to rupees 20 lakhs minus the whole amount for which the property was acquired. The 14 lakhs is equal to 6 lakh. Since he has sold the property before 2 years from the date of acquisition, it is a short-term capital gain tax. So he has no consideration for an index cost. The whole amount of profit, 6 lakhs, will be considered as income under the rules of income tax. There is no allowance for this assigned under long-term capital gain. Third case, capital gain tax for properties acquired before 1/4/2001. B has purchased a land of 6 cents in Trivandrum in the year 1992 for an amount of 6 lakhs and constructed a residential building of plinth area 100 square meter in the year 1998 for an amount of 18 lakhs. B has done some improvements to the building in the year 2009 for rupees 3 lakhs. B sold the property in the year 2018 for an amount of rupees 90 lakhs. Find out the capital gain tax for this property. Valuation as on 1/4/2001. As explained earlier, as per the amendment by the Finance Bill 2017, all properties purchased before 1/4/2000 will be considered as the property is acquired on 1/4/2001 and the fair market value as on 1/4/2000 will be the acquired value of the property. So, land 6 cents, land value as paid in 1992, 2,40,000. Building, the plinth area of the building is 100 square meter. Amount spent for the construction for the building 1998 rupees 18 lakhs. Improvements done in the year 2009 for 3 lakhs. Here, since as per section 55(2) B11, where the capital asset became the property of the assessee by any of the modes specified in subsection 1, section 49, and the capital asset became the property of the previous owner before first day of April 2000 means the cost of the capital asset to the previous owner or the fair market value of the asset on the first day of April 2001 at the option of the assessee. Since the property has been sold after 1/4/2007, the fair market value as on 1/4/2000 is the cost of acquisition. The fair market value of 6 cents of land is assessed as 6 cents at 60,000% is equal to 3 lakhs 60,000. Value of the building as on 2001 is assessed as 22 lakhs. The building was actually constructed in the year 1998, age as on 2003 years. Hence, depreciation considering the salvage value of 10% is equal to 4.5%. Hence, depreciation amount is equal to 22 lakhs into 0.045 is equal to rupees 99,000. Hence, the depreciated value of the building is equal to rupees 21 lakhs 1,000. Improvements done the year 2009 for 3 lakhs. Cost inflation index in the year 2100, cost inflation index in the year 2009 cost inflation index in the year 2018 to 80. Index cost of land for is equal to rupees 3,60,000 into 280 divided by 100 is equal to 10 lakhs 0.8000. Index cost of building is equal to 21 lakhs 1,000 into 280 divided by 100 is equal to 58 lakhs 82,800. Index cost of improvements is 3 lakhs into 280 divided by 148 is equal to 5 lakhs 67,568. Total index cost of land, building and improvements is 74 lakhs 58,368. The property was sold in the year 2018 for 90 lakhs. So the capital gain is equal to 90 lakhs minus this indexed cost, the total indexed cost, rupees 74 lakhs 58,368 is equal to 15 lakhs 41,632, and the capital gain tax 20% of this is equal to rupees 3 lakh 8,326. In the case of inherited property, the computation of a capital gain tax is entirely different. In the case of inherited property, the date of acquisition of the person who conveys the inheritance is the date of acquisition of the inheritor and not the actual date on which he inherits the property. In the case of ancestral property or inherited property, the approach is different. A purchased a property in the year 2000. Suppose his son B inherited the property by will in the year 2012 from A. Subsequently, B sells this property in the year 2018. Usually, the cost of acquisition is taken as the fair value of the property acquired by B as on 2012. But here, since this is an inherited property, the cost of the property is the amount at which A purchased the property in the year 2000 and not the cost as on 2000 when B acquired the property. Then again, as per the new rules, since A acquired the property before 2001 and since B sold the property after 1/4/2017, the fair market price of the property as on 2001 is the cost of acquisition. For example, A purchased a property 5 cents land in a RCC building of 70 square meter for an amount of rupees 10 lakhs in the year 2000. A died in the year 2012 and as per his will, his son B acquired the property in the year 2012. The fair market value of the property in 2012 is rupees 24 lakhs. Subsequently, B sold this property in the year 2018 for rupees 33 lakhs. Calculate the capital gain tax of A purchased the property in the year 2000 for 10 lakhs. B acquired the property as per will in the year 2012. The fair market value of the property in 2012 is 24 lakhs. B sold the property in 2018 for an amount of rupees 36 lakhs. The cost inflation index as on 2000 is equal to 100. The cost inflation index as on 2012 is equal to 200. The cost inflation index as on 2018 is 280. 2001 is considered. The cost as on 2000 is the cost of acquisition for B and not the fair market value of 24 lakhs in 2012 when he physically acquired the property. Now the computation of capital gain. Cost of acquisition by A in the year 2000, now assigned 2000 is 10 lakh. The property was sold in the year 2080 for 33 lakhs. The fair market value of the property as on 2000 is assessed as rupees 11 lakhs. Cost inflation of in the year 2001 is 100. Cost inflation index in the year 2000 is 280. Index cost of the property as on 2018 is 11 lakhs into 280 divided by 100 is equal to rupees 30 lakhs 80,000. Capital gain is equal to 33 lakhs minus 30 lakhs 80,000 is equal to rupees 2 lakhs 20,000, and 20% of this as capital gain tax is equal to rupees 44 lakhs. Now for an academic interest, let us analyze how it will work out if we take 2012 as the year of acquisition by B. The cost of land and building as on 2012 is rupees 24 lakhs. Cost inflation index as on 2012 is 200. Cost inflation index as on 2018, the year of sale, is equal to 280. So here index cost is equal to 280 divided by 200 into 24 lakhs is equal to 33 lakhs 60,000. The property was sold for 33 lakhs in 2018. So here there is no capital gain tax, only capital loss. So actually, when you work out in the correct way, the capital gain tax is 44 lakhs. But if you go by the wrong way, there is no tax at all. So the first method is the correct. What is 50C in the Income Tax Act 1961? Section 50C of the Income Tax Act was introduced with effect from 1st April 2003 by the Finance Act 2002. The purpose of the section was explained in the memorandum in the Finance Bill 2002. The bill proposes to insert a new section 50C in the Income Tax Act to make a special provision for determining the full value of consideration in cases of transfer of immovable property. It is proposed to provide that where the consideration declared to be received or accruing as a result of transfer of a land or building or both is less than the value adopted or assessed by an authority of the state government for the purpose of payment of stamp duty in respect of such transfer, the value so adopted or assessed shall be deemed to be the full value of the consideration, and the capital gains shall be computed accordingly under Section 48 of the Income Tax Act. This means, suppose you are selling a property and you enter the amount of sale in your sale deed. Say you are selling the property for 30 lakhs and in the sale deed you are providing 30 lakhs. Suppose the stamp duty value assessed by a state government is more than 30 lakhs. As per this rule, for computation of capital gain tax, the value as per the stamp duty, which is more than the 30 lakhs, will be considered as the sale price for the computation of capital gain tax. In the previous amendment from 2003, I have explained that if the stamp value as per the government is higher than the value provided in the sale deed, then the stamp value will be considered for calculating the capital gain tax, because the stamp value will be considered as the sale value and the capital gain will be considered on the basis of the stamp value. This 50C was again amended in the year 2018. Now, a more consideration has been given to the SSC. Here, there is a sale value that is written in the sale deed and there is the stamp value. If the stamp value is not more than increased by the increase between the sale value and the stamp value is up to 5%, then the sale value will be considered for computation of capital gain tax. For example, suppose you have provided the sale value in the sale deed at 20 lakhs. So, if the stamp value works out is below 21 lakhs, that is 5% above the 20 lakhs, then the 20 lakhs will be considered at the sale value for computation of capital gain, not the 21 lakhs as in the 2003 amendment. The FTC was again amended in the Finance Bill 2020. Here, more consideration has been given to the assessee. When you compare the stamp value and the sale value, if the stamp value is only 10%, in the previous amendment it was 5%, in the amendment in the 2020, if it is less than 10%, then the sale value will be taken for consideration of the capital gain tax. For example, suppose the sale value is 20 lakhs, and if the stamp value calculated is below 22 lakhs, then the sale value of 20 lakhs only will be taken for the consideration of capital gain tax. This amendment, which is welcome measure, is proposed to be made effective 1st April 2021 and shall accordingly apply in relation to assessment year 2021-22 and subsequent years. Hope this presentation was informative to my viewers. Please express your likes and sincere opinion at the earliest. Thank you.